Augie, international break is over. Now we have this long stretch run right through to the Champions League final in June in Istanbul. I mean, we're talking, 9 weeks, something like that, 10 weeks. You've written a piece about this because in the Premier League, there's a lot of stuff to play for. The title, top four, Europa League places, relegation. And some big games already, some key games already coming our way this weekend.
Yeah, there's no distractions now for the players or the clubs. It's a clear run right through to the end of the season, and there are some massive games this weekend in the sense that they will dictate how the season pans out for the clubs involved. And some Newcastle v Man United, for instance, a big game in terms of the top four. You've got Man City Liverpool again is a huge game in the sense that in the title race for City, but also for Liverpool they need to win that game to get a result to stay in the hunt for the Champions League. So we're at the point now where clubs and results matter more than ever. Now they always matter, but with games running out, they matter even more. And I think with Arsenal, 10 games to go, I reckon if they can lose 2 games and still win the title. So we're getting very close to that point where Arsenal might be winning the title for the first time in nearly 20 years.
And it's very tight at the bottom as well in terms of relegation. Just the sheer quantity of teams that have been sucked into that race near the bottom. But I want to ask you, you also go out and you look at, I think the Golden Boot race is not really a race, right? That is the one thing we can be confident Erling Haaland will be the top scorer in the Premier League this year, right?
Yeah. So basically, Erling Haaland, I think, is 7 or 8 goals clear of Harry Kane, but we're not talking about whether Kane can catch him. We're talking about whether Erling Haaland can become the player that scored the most goals in a Premier League season. So right now, that's 34 goals in a season. Alan Shearer, Andy Cole, both did that in the 90s when it was a 42-game league, because it was a 22-team Premier League. So they did it in more games. Haaland's only 6 behind those. So he'll probably get that with, I think, 11 games to go. The question is, no player has scored 40 or more goals in an English top flight for over 60 years. That was Jimmy Greaves in 1961 with Chelsea. So will Haaland break the 40-goal barrier in the Premier League?
Wait, what are you talking about? I thought there was no football in England before 1992.
Yeah, it's dim and distant past.
Well, and it's funny because when you're talking about Haaland and his scoring, a fella named Dixie Dean, who used to play for Everton in the 1930s, he has the all-time seasonal top flight record, which I think is 60
goals.
No, I think it's 63 because I think he also scored in an FA Cup or something. It's something. Yeah. I think it's 60 in the league, and then it's one of those records you think, who's going to break this, right? Yeah. But seasonal, right, with his Champions League games and everything. Yeah. He's actually on pace to coming pretty close to that.
Yeah, he's already broken the record for most hat-tricks in a season. He's breaking records left, right and centre. So I don't think he's going to trouble the Dixie Dean record, but I do think the Jimmy Greaves one, I think 41 goals in 61. I think he's got 13 to get in the league for that. That's certainly doable for Erling Haaland.
All right, I'm going to hit you up on predictions because I know this is what people love to play back to you and troll you and ask you, why do you hate so-and-so? So let's start from the bottom. Who's going down?
Wow, this is a tough one. I think
Crystal Palace. You just wrote a piece predicting it. Shouldn't be tough.
I think Crystal Palace, even though they're 12th at the moment and they're the top of the bottom 9.
Trending the wrong way. No love for Roy. I get it. Go on. Who else?
Haven't won a game in any competition in 2023, so I think Palace are going to go. I think Southampton are going to go. And I think the rest of them, although I think Bournemouth, I do worry about Leeds. I think, although Javi Gracia's had a couple of results since he got in there, Leeds for me still concede too many goals. So I'm going to say Southampton, Leeds and Crystal Palace.
Wow, big Gary O'Neill fan there, I see. Okay, no, nice one. And Forest you see staying up too, at least for the time being.
I think they're home record. I think they're decent at home, Forest. I think they'll stay up.
Okay, I'm not going to ask you about Europa League because let's face it, nobody really cares. And it's also tied to the top 4. Well, first of all, who's winning the Premier League?
I think Arsenal. I think Arsenal got a cushion now. I think Arsenal are going to win it.
And top 4?
Arsenal, Man City. I think Man United have hit a bit of a difficult patch, but I think they'll finish 3rd. Thank
you.
And then I tell you what, the battle for the 4th spot, I think that's a tough one. I think Spurs have made a mistake by replacing Conte with Stellini. I think that's just an easy option. Newcastle have run out of goals. I still think Liverpool have got a big gap to breach, but I think Liverpool will sneak into 4th.
Well, you heard it there first. This is where you can go and direct your abuse. But I just want to tell you again, if somebody thinks your team isn't going to win, it doesn't mean he hates them.
Well, thank you very much for watching ESPN on YouTube. For more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for live streaming, premium content, and let's not forget as well, ESPN FC 7 days a week. Subscribe to ESPN Plus.